Right, a little bit shorter for this match roundup. Not been out on the bank quite as much, only once for me. Very grumpy about it, but our friendly tackle shop owner again, out on the bank all the time, so he's got a bit to report on. But before that, we went out last week, didn't we, for our Frenzee Future of Fishing Day, which was absolutely brilliant, wasn't it?
Fantastic, yeah, brilliant day out. Varied angle, they're all different. There had some lads that were there that had never fished before, and there were some lads there that were quite keen, weren't they? They were like, familiar with everything, for the commercial side of fishing. But from all different age groups as well. We had Harry, I think he was 9 or 10, right the way up to, Alfie was around about...
I think 16. I think our youngest angler was 8 actually, up to 16. We had a few around sort of the 10, 11 age.
Yeah.
All really, really keen. We started off with a little bit of coaching. I'd done a bit of coaching, Paul done some, and Mick Bull as well. A little bit of group coaching, asked a few questions, demonstrated a few tactics, and that seemed to go down really well.
Yeah, they were firing questions at us left, right and centre, weren't they? Yeah,
exactly. And the one thing I do think is it was great to see how keen they all were, first of all, from the ones who hadn't fished before to who've got a lot of experience. Really, really keen. They were all encouraging each other, which was great to see.
Yeah.
And hopefully they picked up a few things, didn't they?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, with pole fishing was like, there were yourself fishing the feeder, demonstrating how to mix the ground bait up, pellets up, just to prepare your baits and everything. And Riley was like keen for you to chuck in the tree when you actually started fishing. You got Mick who was on the straight lead, all the different ways of fishing the straight lead, aspects of fishing that, and myself again back on the pole, maggot fishing, trying to put anything together, like some skimmers, 1 or 2 F1s and what have you. But again, quite happy to jump on the box, get involved. It was a brilliant day.
Yeah, and then we had a few little competitions through the day. We had a 2-hour match on the afternoon, didn't we, which went really well, to be honest. Like we said, we had some anglers who hadn't fished before. We actually had a couple of brothers who'd never fished before. They had a really good little match between them. And we had a lot of weights from sort of 18 to 28 pound, which is our winner, Alfie Potter, who he won quite a nice prize there. He got a good amount of Frenzee vouchers, and he won a coaching day with me and
both.
You. Yeah. So I'm sure he'll teach us a thing
I'm
or two.
sure he will do, yeah. No, he can definitely fish, can Alfie.
Yeah, so he's looking at maybe going to a Worldview with us, I think. We'll take him there.
A day out there, look forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. So brilliant day. Something us at Frenzee are sort of really invested in, helping out the future anglers, helping them anglers come along because they're the future of the sport. And I know lots of other companies are getting involved with that type of thing as well. So that's brilliant.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've had that journey, in fishing. It's offered us, some amazing days out. So, if we can encourage them to have the similar sort of journey that we've had, brilliant.
Yeah, and massive thanks to Aaron and Neil at Lindholme, giving us the lake for the day. Brilliant day. Hopefully it's something we can do again in the future. But moving on from there, you've been out a few times, so where have you been?
Yeah, so Sunday came up on the fishery, Forest Lane Fishery Open on Sunday. It was on the Arena Lake, somewhere where we're going to come and fish a 3-day festival, I think somewhere in September. Arena Lake's one of the days, so I thought I'll come and have a look at that. It's the venue for the Fish North final in a couple of weeks' time. I know you've got the match there in a couple of weeks, so it was sort of a learning trip for me. Could have obviously, if it had been a qualifier for something, then maybe I'd have approached it slightly different. But with it being a qualifier, with it not being a qualifier, fished it slightly different. It was more of a learning trip for me, and a drew peg 6, which probably felt as if it was wrong end of the lake when asked 1 or 2 of the local lads felt as if the fish were on the other side of the lake at the moment. I've got 3 of the local pace lads there next to me. I've got Kevin Wage and Phil Sellers and Craig Tidswell. They've got the 3 lads there. Craig, Pace Daddy, I've seen it on his shirt. So he had a good battle with Phil, and you got 1 or 2 of the local lads around the other side of the lake. You got Ryan Bennett on the other side of the lake. So basically the match was I wanted to try and come up and fish. I brought 3 or 4 different baits, to be honest with you, and I brought pellets, maggots and a bit of ground bait, and I didn't really want to come up and just fish just fish one bait. I wanted to mix it up a little bit just to see if I could get a reaction off one of the baits that could take me into the festival in a couple of weeks' time. And I started off on maggots, On the particular lake, you've got a shelf, near side shelf that drops off quite steep. So I set 2 or 3 rigs up to fish on the shelf, and I also set a rig up to fish maggot up in the water. And I started off on maggots, set it off probably on the halfway down the shelf. The pace lad started just on a top kit with one on, probably about 4 or 5 feet. I started off in 5 or 6 feet. But it was a slow start, to be honest with you. So I just sort of went down just onto the bottom of the flat and sort of like ticked a few fish over there. But it was still slow, to be honest with you. Probably like 1 every 2 minutes, something like that. I felt as if I was catching the smaller stamp. I noticed 1 or 2 of the lads on the pace were catching some. Craig was catching some slightly better stamp fish. Phil was saying it was still catching the smaller fish. So maybe, even though the pace wasn't targeting the bigger fish, but I felt the maggots were. I was catching the smaller stamp fish on the maggots initially. I changed it to pellets just to see what reaction I'd get to it. But again, small stamp fish. Started to introduce a little bit of ground bait. That definitely seemed to like kickstart some more fish into my swim. They definitely dragged some more fish in, but again, they were small fish. So after probably 2.5, 3 hours, I worked my way out onto my long pole maggot line, and then straight away it's like, you know, there was definitely more fish out there. But again, it was like liners were a problem for start off, so I started pinging a few maggots out there, and that definitely like led me into fishing shallow for probably the second half of the match. And it was noticeable that, I mean, the wind was coming across for a start off, but it sort of flipped round and it come off my back, which made it easier to ping the bait out there. But it was definitely noticeable that the fish were backing away from the pole tip. So I've had to have slightly lighter strung out rigs with a slightly longer line, and it was just constantly flicking it away, out from the pole, pinging 20 maggots, and then just trying to catch one or 2 fish through the water. But they weren't really like grouped up. I didn't feel like there was a lot of fish there, but got to a stage where I did start to put 1 or 2 fish together, but I felt as if there wasn't the numbers there just to like really persevere and keep it going. So anyway, got through to like the last hour, and then the sun came out, and that wiped me out completely, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, I came round and sat with you for a little while, didn't I? I live really close to the fishery. I had a pop down, came sat with you.
Yeah.
And one thing that's really evident, and I noticed myself, I fished a match there on Saturday, the fish are much harder to catch than what you feel like they should be. It's absolutely full of these little carp from 6 ounce to 2 pound. There's loads and loads of them, but it's almost like when I was fishing shallow and watching you, it's like you're fishing for big carp.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
In the way that they feed, in the way that they react to your rig and your bait, and it's a lot trickier than what I would have expected it to be honest.
Yeah, even though there were 12 ounce pound and a quarter fish, they were definitely just feeding anything that just went past the pole tip. But I couldn't get them underneath the pole tip at all. So it wasn't a case of like being able to just sit there, lifting and dropping. I had to keep flicking it out, then eventually one would either drag the elastic out, or you'd just be gently lifting up. Yeah. But you're just going to go through that. They were definitely very spooky off the pole tip for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But really enjoyable fishing. You really felt like you had to work at it.
Yeah, at the end I've had £75, which again, it was a learning trip, and there was things that I could have probably done different. But again, I didn't mind that so much, because I definitely ruled a few things out, something I can take into the next match. I'll be back here this Sunday coming up. I've had £75. The next couple of lads Phil's had £76. Craig's had £80. So he won the Pace Daddy competition between them two. Going round the lake, it got round to Ryan Bennett. He made no mistakes. He's had 147, so he's won the match. I think the lads to his left, as I was looking over, I think he had 111, and he was second. So I think you need £90 to frame up. So weren't far away, and I felt as if maybe then, you know, some subtle changes here and there definitely would have felt as if that was capable. Yeah,
I think there would have been £90 to be caught if maybe you'd have had a go before that.
That's right, yeah, absolutely.
I fished a match on the same lake the previous day, part of the Fish North competition. I've fished that the first year, 2 years ago, first year it was in, I was lucky enough to fish one qualifier. I managed to get straight through to the semi-final, and that was me. Last year, unfortunately, the competition didn't run, but it was back stronger than ever this year. Yeah. All the qualifiers sold out, and I've managed to fish 4 qualifiers and narrowly miss out on every one. So while that was a little bit annoying, there's been a little bit of a bonus match. So anyone who's bought more than 3 tickets has been entered into a league. The top 15 in that league fished a match on Sunday, and the top 2 from that have won a place in the semi-final.
Yeah.
And luckily enough, I finally managed to scrape through. I come second on that day and got me into the final. Drew a brilliant area, round where you said won the day before. I drew peg 26.
Had a good battle with Ash Clements.
Yeah, Ash Clements was next to me on 24, so right in the area you wanted to be. And it was quite funny actually. Before the start, I had to take some pictures afterwards of the top two to send them through to get put on the Fish North Facebook page. And I actually sent a selfie of myself and Ash before the start.
Oh, you predicted it.
Here's the two winners. You can use this picture. Yeah. As it turned out, that's what happened. Ash won the match. I come second. So both through to the final.
Brilliant.
He, like me, has had some near misses. So nice to see him get there as well. Tactics-wise, Ash has fished a real nice match. Loose-fed maggots on the long pole, fished up and down, and he's caught pretty steady all day. I had a little bit of a different approach. I went with a paced approach, fishing a top kit in one straight in front of me. And then I loose fed some maggots further out just in case I needed them. I didn't feed that to start with. I had a nice start on my pace. I started on a top kit, got one straight away, but it didn't feel right, a little bit too shallow I think. So I put another section on, gone a bit further out, and I caught pretty well there. I think 30 fish in the first hour, nice steady start.
Were you feeding anything over your pace line?
Yeah, I fed a few 4mm pellets, wetted right up. I fed a bit of ground bait. To be honest, I couldn't make my mind up what was best, but I've caught, I kept getting bites, kept catching them. 30 fish after an hour, I thought it was going well. Ash seemed to be catching really well shallow, but you know what it can be like with shallow. I think sometimes he was going in and getting 4 or 5 really quick, where mine was a bit slower but a bit more steady, and he actually wasn't catching as much more than me than I thought. He was probably catching similar. But I've started loose feeding my maggots to an area that was to my left, and after probably half an hour I maybe fed it for, there was fish backs coming out, swirls, gobbing on the top next to this area, and I thought to myself, I need to go, it's solid. So I've gone in, and to be honest, I lost my way a little bit because I've had an absolute disaster. There's a cable runs from the bank to my left to the aerator, or so I thought, but as it turns out, I realised a bit later, it runs from the bank next to me to the far bank, and the aerators are tethered off it to the left of it. So when I'm firing my maggots up to this aerator and fishing to it, I'm actually fishing a metre the other side of the rope or the wire, and I've lost rigs, lost up lengths, just had a disaster before I realised what was going on. And it's ruined my rhythm a little bit. I was catching nice and steady on my pace short, so I'm now sort of 2 and a bit hours in, and I thought, right, I'll start feeding it in open water, away from this aerator, gone back on my pace, and I caught on my pace still, but I couldn't quite get it how it was before. I'd been in a real nice rhythm before that, and when I've come off it, it kind of spoilt it a little bit. I did catch some more on it, and then last hour and a half I've caught pretty well shallow. Last half an hour especially was really good.
Were there better stamp fish again, or was it a smaller stamp?
It was funny because I thought there were bigger shallow, but when I've lifted them out, I've had my shallow fish in one net, my pace fish in the other.
Right, okay.
And my pace fish had 63 pound in it, with I think only 10 more fish than my shallow net, which has had, I think 5 more fish actually, and that had 43 pound in, so they're probably bigger on pace, to be honest.
Right, and the pace mix, is it something that you do regular, or is it just,
No, it's not a method I ever really fish. Nice and simple. I got a bit of sort of paste mix, mixed it up. That was me, just swung it out and kept getting bites. It was really good. So a bit of a mistake in that mid-match bit, and when I lost my way, and I think if I'd have fished paste all match, I could have caught maybe 130 pound.
Right, okay.
Which I think Ash won the match 115 pound. I had 105.
So you settled for the semi-final that's coming up? Is it something that's...
Yeah, I've got my plan now, I think, and stick to it. But brilliant fishing, plenty of bites. Lucky enough to obviously draw right in the right area, which it proved the next day. Ash was on 24. Ryan Bennett drew 24 the next day. 140 odd pound won the match, and I think 25 was second. So
it looks like it's going to be interesting, really, because you've got the 2 attacks at the moment seem to be paste and maggots. You've got 1 or 2 specialist paste anglers, and then you've got obviously some of the lads are going to come and fish with maggots. So it's going to be interesting how the 2 are going to battle up against each other.
Quite a bit of feeder fishing as well. Quite a few people been catching well on a feeder, so a real mix of tactics. Weights aren't going to be massive, I think. Top 15 out of 30 go through to the final. Will
you change your approach because obviously you're looking to try in the semi-final, you're looking to try and get that top 15?
No, I don't think so. Just trying.
Not going to be conservative or anything.
Catching some fish. It might change a few things.
What weight do you think you're going to need to get in?
I'm thinking maybe 65, 70 pounds, steady day. You might need a little bit more than that, but I think if you just keep putting some fish in the net, great chance of going through. Then obviously get to the final. 15 anglers on the lake, totally different match.
12 grand to the winner?
12 grand to the winner. I'd imagine it'll be one shallow, but can't discount that Paisley feeder. So really looking forward to that match. Brilliant competition again. Credit to the organisers on that one, and it's gone from strength to strength. Yeah,
definitely. So again, it's like a major that's like in amongst all the others at the moment, but I think it's in there now, isn't it? So
definitely, and more and more people wanting to fish it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
brilliant. So you've been out another.
Yeah, I've had 2 more visits. Hayfield Lakes. I went on Wednesday in the mix. Disappointing, really. Had a really slow day. Drew peg 51 on Island Lake, and it's a peg that I've fished before. It's a good feeder peg, but unfortunately, it wasn't so good on the day. I've had 4 bites all day. Pellet feeder, maybe if I fished the ground bait feeder with maggots, might have caught some more of the crassios. I was getting 1 or 2 little indications, which probably made me think that the crassios were there, and I was targeting more the carp. Again, 10 grand to the winner, so I give myself a chance. The section was one with 36 pounds, so possible. And then on the Tuesday, the night before, I had the last night of my evening league. Over the course of the summer, there's been 40 of us signed up, have joined up, and the top half go through to the final. So there was 23 in the final, and over Little and Big Adams. So it's always a good night from the shop. Just nice, all the lads to get together. Really enjoy it over the summer evenings, and we paid the top 13 out of 26. So there was plenty of prizes to be had. I managed 9th on the night, so I got a little prize, got 60 quid. And winning on the night was Paul Wright, Mr. Consistent. Never ever lets you down, Paul. Drew peg 7 on Little Adams, weighed 109 pound, fished his long pole, pellet, shallow. He's had quite a few fish, to be honest with you. He's not had all the big lumps, Hayfield lumps. He's had plenty of fish. Second was Paul Cannon, third Rob Smith. So they all did well. It was a really tight frame. I think I had 71 pound. There was a 71 pound 5 ounce, and then gradually, so it was a really good night, to be honest with you.
I think it's a real shame as well to see sort of the end of them evening series. When you look about now today,
breaks the week up. Definitely.
Weather's a bit rubbish now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It almost feels like it's dropping cold.
That's right.
At the end of them sort of matches is sort of the sign of
you
things
can feel
maybe
it in the
starting to
mornings.
change.
Yeah, you can feel it in the mornings.
But these match roundups, nice and regular, so we can keep people in touch with what's happening, how the fishing's changing over the next few months, which I think will be nice.
That's right, yeah. So I'm back up here. I'm at Forest Lane on Sunday. I've just booked in for the match there, so I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm possibly going to try and get back up on the Tuesday. Well, I know there's a match up here on the Tuesday.
Yeah, loving it here at the minute.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's a nice venue, yeah.
Not really much of a chance to get out for me again. I've got loads going on this next week or so, but bank holiday Monday, I'm up to Woodlands Lakes at Thirsk, ready for the pairs match there.
Yeah.
So really looking forward to that. I haven't been there for a while. It's a venue I love fishing, a bit like Hayfield, all them great big carp. Yeah. And when you get a bite, it's nice to catch them big ones, isn't it? So really looking forward to that. We'll come back next time we're together, get our roundup done again, let people know how the fishing's been going. Yeah. Hopefully by then we might have already fished the Fish North semi, and I'll be reporting that I've got myself through to the final with a little bit of luck.
Okay.
But we'll see everyone again soon.
Yeah, have a good weekend, have a good bank holiday.
And everyone hopefully catch plenty of fish.